Hey everybody, what's going on? Hope you guys are doing good. I'm doing just great. So here I am with GreenTerror's Ghost guitar, which is a guitar that belonged to a friend of his that passed away. I'm not too sure how long ago his friend passed away, but GreenTerror wants to, kind of build this guitar as a tribute guitar for his friend. The only thing that I was really kind of sorry to have to tell him that, well, the body is not in great shape. That this top on here, which I wish I was looked at this before I ended up sanding the top, that way I could have gave him back the body painted the way I guess his friend painted this. But I thought that this was a arch top. At least that's kind of what it looks like. Well, it's not supposed to be. This body is supposed to be flat and glued to the other layers of plywood that is inside here. Unfortunately, moisture or something must have got inside there and separated the top. This side of the body is arched up more than what this side of the body is. It's very uneven. You can see signs of it, here and on the inside of the control cavity. So I thought that I was going to be finished with this and send it back to him and tell him, sorry, I can't do anything. There was a few questions of comments that people brought up, which were really good as far as steaming off this top and then finding a way to flatten the top out and putting it back on. That would be pretty good, considering that, I probably would have to soak this top really, really good in either water or something that will soften up the wood in order to get it to flatten out. And it would have to be put on some type of a surface that is probably like dead flat. And the weight that would have to go on top of this in order to keep it flat, I don't even know if I have anything like that around that I could put on, other than rolling a car, putting a board on top of the wood and rolling the front tire of my vehicle on top of it and let it sit for a few days and see if that helps flatten that out. And then gluing the top back on and applying, some good pressure to it as it's being glued so it doesn't start to bow back up on its own again. To me, that would be a nightmare. Okay, and I'm not too sure if I wanted to dig into this that far, but I still wanted to do this tribute guitar for GreenTerror. So I had inside of my storage underneath the stairs a Les Paul body. Now this is a mahogany body with a veneer on top of a maple cap. So this has got, it's two-piece and a veneer. It's not a bad looking body. It's perfect. There's nothing wrong with it whatsoever. It's brand new when I picked it up. I just never used it. And you know how me with Les Pauls and stuff like that, especially when there is a veneer or a flame maple, or how I am with trying to customize that and everything else. I just had this sitting around and got into other things that kept me busy. So I'm donating this to Mike's or GreenTerror's bill. It's not Mike. I think Mike is the one who owned the guitar. I will be using the neck. I will be mimicking, because the owner of this guitar, at first, those are his initials. So I'll be mimicking those initials in the same location. I'll also be mimicking the ghost. But I think GreenTerror said he wanted his last name or something put at the top. So I have to get with GreenTerror for what he wants on the top of this. But the neck doesn't seem like it's in too bad of shape. There is some gaps that's going on with some of the inlays on the neck, and I'm going to address all that and make that look really nice. I'm going to refret it, maybe do some new binding on there, not sure, because the binding is real thin on this side, but yet it's kind of thick on this side. I got plenty of white binding that I can use for this. So it'll be like a brand new guitar, custom, by the time I get finished with this. So GreenTerror picked up a Kaler, not a floating bridge, but it is a somewhat of like a Floyd that Kaler's got, and call it hybrid. But there's got to be some work that needs to be done with it. So I sprayed the body with the Mohawk sanding sealer. That's already taken care of, and it's pretty much dry to the touch and everything else. So that's going to give me a nice surface after I sand it to put some primer down and then start doing my layer of color on here. But some other mock-up has to be done first, and that's to get this bridge to fit in here. So what I got going on over here is the sleeves for the bottom of the bridge are going to have to be re-drilled. These are not standard size, you know, what you would see for a pneumatic bridge system and tailpiece. These are a lot bigger than those. The mounting bolts pretty much look like a tailpiece mounting bolts, but they are not threaded to fit in the standard style of a bridge. So these holes have to be drilled out a little bit before I could put these sleeves inside there. I don't want these sleeves to be any type of an issue or problem. Also, there is two pieces that go into where the pneumatic bridge goes, and to me these look like kind of like height adjustments or maybe stoppers, but they are the old Gibson style, what you would see on the bridge sleeve that well, you would just replace this real easy in that style of a sleeve, but unfortunately this does not have that. So I'm going to have to plug. These are two pieces of oak that have been measured. They have been sanded down to fit nice and snug inside of these holes, and they are the same depth of the hole. So I need to put these in first before I could put the sleeves in, and then I can put the template and trace that and then start cutting out that template, which doesn't have to be that deep at all. I mean, it's pretty much, you know, probably what is this? How deep is this? Where's my ruler? I don't have my ruler out here. It ain't that much. It's less than a ½ inch. So what I'm going to do is start putting these sleeves in, which I'm going to be using Tight Bond glue, and I need some toothpicks, and you'll see why I need the toothpicks. So what I want to do with this is I want to coat the inside of the hole with the Tight Bond. Generous amount of glue, kind of go around the edges of it. I know a lot of it's going to get pushed down to the bottom of the hole, but at least there's going to be a lot of glue in there to secure those oak dowel rods. Now what I ended up doing is I got pieces of dowel rods, and the size of the dowel rods, you know, instead of drilling this out bigger and then putting the dowel rod in, why not just sand the dowel rod down a little bit to get it to be the diameter of the hole. So I put it on the lathe in the garage, grab a piece of emery cloth, which emery cloth is a type of a sandpaper that is on some type of a cloth fiber backing, and just turn the lathe on, let it spin, go up and down until you get the right diameter you need, and then you can put it right in the hole. It's still going to be tight. It's not going to be a loose fit. It's going to be a snug fit. Now what I ended up doing is I tapered the edge a little bit on the side that's going into the body. So I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on both pieces here. And the nice thing about Tight Bond glue as well as water cleanup, you know, not a big deal. Alright, so that's one. Now what I want to do is put this in there. And you see it doesn't just slide right in. Now because this is an arch top body, it's going to be sticking up on one side. That's going to be a given. So what I'm going to end up doing is pounding this down it. That should be in there pretty good. I thought I had some paper towel or a rag around here. I guess not. I can easily get one. Clean up the glue that's around that. Now this side over here is nice and even with the body. This side has a little bit of a hump on there. And this being oak, it's going to be a pain in the ass to sand that flush, but it can be done. It's not like it can't be. So I got the other plug dowel rod, putting some CA, or not CA, but some Type-On glue around that too. A little bit more. I had some paintbrushes to do this. I don't know what happened to them. I think I used them for doing the shielding paint in a lot of the bodies, so I must have ran out. Alright, so that's plug number 2. Same thing. Put in the hole. Get my other piece of dowel. The glue. Alright, there's enough of that sticking up to work with. Now, as tight as that went in, you would think, well, I can probably go to the next step and start drilling the holes, finding center, and then drilling the holes for this, so these sleeves could be mounted in there. No, I cannot do that, because the problem with this is that I need to let these dry, let them cure up, sand them down flush, and then I need to route out the template first, because some of that is going to get routed. A little bit of the corners are going to be routed out of these. And I don't want the glue and the wood not to be bonded together, really, you know, the glue not to dry, and then end up drilling out these holes and having because these are tight, end up like splitting, cracking, or breaking and falling. Now I got to drill these out and redo it again. So that's going to be it for right now. Until the next time for this video, I'll end up doing some sanding and installing this K-letter bridge. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys had a great Easter like I did, and enjoy.